bloombergusa.org.
This is Karen Moscow.
And I'm Nathan Hager. Join us today at 5 a.m. on Bloomberg Daybreak.
We continue to focus on the Fed with the Jackson Hole Symposium just days away with Drew Mattis of MetLife. I'm Amy Morris. Schools reopened their doors with fewer teachers and staff.
And we'll preview primary races in New York and Florida with Bloomberg's Joe Matthew.
That's all coming up on Bloomberg Daybreak today at 5 a.m. on Bloomberg 99.1 and 105.7 FM HD2.
Bloomberg, the world is listening.
Influential conversations from Bloomberg Television. Here's Anna Edwards.
Bob Parker, advisor at CBP Quilvest and regular on this program. Bob, very nice to have you with us. Let me ask you the more kind of bigger picture global question around policy moving in different directions. The Fed tightening, and this week perhaps set to reinforce messages around tightening and tighter policy and the inflation fight. The PBOC loosening policy may be less effective, but loosening policy moving in the opposite direction. Does that matter, Bob? What does that make you think when you see these two massive economies moving in these different directions?
I think it matters in a number of respects. I think the first respect is that it probably reinforces the strength of the dollar. Now, that comes with one caveat, which is that investors, market participants are all long the US dollar.
Yeah,
If you look at surveys of investor and speculative positioning, it is a very long position long the dollar. So the upside for the dollar, therefore, is somewhat limited. But having said that, coming back to your question, US rates going up, Chinese rates probably at this level, this low level for some period of time, bond market spread widening in favor of the dollar. It means that the dollar continues to appreciate. At least it's going to be underpinned for the next month or two.
Hear more conversations like this one on Bloomberg Television, streaming live on Bloomberg.com and on the Bloomberg mobile app. Or check your local cable listings. Markets, headlines and breaking news 24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com, the Bloomberg Business app and at Bloomberg Quick Take. This is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
Bloomberg's European headquarters in the City of London. I'm Max Ramsey with this Bloomberg Radio Business Flash. We are just over 10 minutes from the start of cash equity trading across Europe, and we do push lower on futures as we head into the open. Euro Stoxx 50 futures down 0.7%, DAX futures down 0.6%, FTSE 100 futures down 0.5%. FTSE 100 was the outlier yesterday, down only 0.2%, where we had steep losses elsewhere in Europe. A similar picture for US futures. We're down 0.5% on S&P 500 E-mini futures and Nasdaq futures as well. We have Asian stocks pushing lower as we come towards the close across Asia, down 1.1% for the MSCI Asia Pacific. The dollar gaining this morning on the Bloomberg Dollar Spot Index. That dollar strength continues. We are at the lowest since 2002 for the euro, 99 cents to the euro right now. We have some buying in treasuries today after we did get a fairly major sell-off yesterday. US 10-year yield falling 2 basis points today though, 2.9943%, so back just below 3%. Oil, we are seeing gains up 0.5% for Brent crude, $96.99 per barrel, and more gains for European benchmark gas, up 2%, 282 euros per megawatt hour. That's your Bloomberg Business Flash. Let's get more of the top news headlines with Leanne Gerrans. Morning to you, Leanne.
Max, good morning to you and thank you. Justin Trudeau says Canada would be willing to consider easing the regulatory burden on new gas export facilities to Europe, but warns the business case must be made first. Speaking at a press conference with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, the Canadian Prime Minister said the challenge is that any new gas terminals on Canada's eastern shore would be far from its western gas fields. Now, Saudi Arabia's energy minister says OPEC and its allies may be forced to cut output as the futures market has become increasingly disconnected from fundamentals. Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman told Bloomberg harmful volatility is disturbing the basic functions of the market. OPEC Plus meets next month to consider output targets. And CEOs do not want to reveal they paid to anybody, not even their friends or their close colleagues at work who they actually trust. Well, young younger workers are more willing to share salary information. C-suite and other top-level managers are more inclined to keep it a secret, and this according to new data from a LinkedIn survey of nearly 19,000 US-based business professionals, and they were polled in June and July. Global news 24 hours a day, on air and on Bloomberg Quick Take, powered by more than 2,700 journalists and analysts in more than 120 countries. I'm Leanne Gerrans. This is Bloomberg. Stephen.
See, is that just a competition, or is it they don't want to have to pay for drinks at the end of the night?
Shadiness. Is it shadiness or is it not? Well, listen, I think at the end of the day, it is so interesting because I think when I have actually massively thought about this.
Leanne Gerrans, CEO of Leanne Gerrans Enterprises.
Yes, that's a very good name for a company, I must say. I must patent that. But before we get there, it's an age thing, isn't it? Because I know my friends and I all quite openly discuss our salaries and what we think that, we should be on. Especially females, we always like to do that, which is quite helpful. But if I look at like my father's generation, they would have never spoken about it. So I wonder if it's a generational thing, or maybe because people just don't want to pay for drinks.
Also, if you look at the numbers, though, yes, there is a small difference, but actually, pretty much half of people would talk about it, and about half of people don't. If you actually look at the figures, there are percentage points of difference, but broadly, we're about 50-50 pretty much at all levels.
But obviously, in public traded companies now, they have to disclose their senior executives' pay, but in private they don't. In private companies, and I was just thinking, this still hasn't really led to the massive conversation about it, has it? Even though we are kind of moving more into transparency arena, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, I think we're moving in that direction, though. I think that the
How much do you earn, Stephen?
And
Leanne.
moving swiftly on. Leanne Gerrans, thank you so much for our top stories this morning, plus a bit of CEO pay discussion too.
I'm not a CEO, just to point out. Right, let's get back to the markets, and the euro still trading close to a 20-year low after we have seen increased pressure on currencies with the strength of